Close your eyes and brace yourself for this chilling reality. You casually dismiss the strange stiffness creeping into your legs, laughing it off as just part of getting older. But 5 short minutes later, as you rise from your favorite recliner, your knees suddenly buckle beneath you with a horrifying snap. Helplessly, you plunge toward the ground, arms flailing yet utterly useless. As you hit the floor, panic floods your veins. Your freedom, your independence vanishes in an instant. You're trapped on your own living room floor, stunned that a brief lapse in attention could spiral your life into a devastating crisis. Every single day, thousands of people over 50 unknowingly face a silent predator, a gradual, insidious erosion of muscle strength that steals away their power so slowly it's almost invisible. Until disaster strikes. If you think you're immune to this lurking threat, think again. Your false sense of security could be deadly. The brutal truth, our bodies won't automatically shield us from aging's hidden dangers. Right now, unseen forces are ruthlessly draining your muscles faster than you ever thought possible. And here's the truly terrifying part. This sinister condition, known as sarcopenia, sets off a catastrophic domino effect, igniting a chain reaction that can lead to severe injuries, lifelong disability, and even a fatal heart attack. Yes, weak muscles can literally stop your heart cold, still feeling confident because you feel fine. Think again. Real-life tragedies and shocking data reveal the harsh reality you're desperately trying to ignore. Don't wait for the day you're unable to climb stairs or lift your grandchild without trembling in agony. By the time your frailty is undeniable, fighting back becomes a desperate uphill battle. Stay locked in, because we're about to uncover the chilling truths and critical solutions you urgently need to escape this terrifying scenario. Let me share the brief but sobering experience of Mr. Anderson, a 68-year-old retired teacher. 2 summers ago, he noticed it took longer to mow his lawn. After 15 minutes pushing the mower, his arms would shake, and a dull ache across his back forced him to pause. He shrugged it off as fatigue. In reality, Mr. Anderson had started losing lean tissue in his arms and shoulders well before any doctor gave him a warning. One morning, he leaned over to pick up a drop pen, lost his balance entirely, and landed hard on his hip. In the emergency room, scanning results showed weakened leg muscles contributed to the fall. Within a few weeks, that single fall led to extensive rehab, fear of climbing stairs, and a strict no-lifting directive until he healed. What began as an overlooked sensation of weakness ended in near immobility, and it all could have been prevented. His story is not uncommon. I've encountered many patients in my journalism and medical practice who succumb to a similar pattern: slight unsteadiness, momentary fatigue, then a crisis. Each time they voice the same regret: if only I had known sooner. The trouble is, you rarely get a second chance once a debilitating fall or severe muscle loss sets in. Yet this is not some inevitable punishment of age. It's an often misunderstood condition called sarcopenia, recognized internationally by the World Health Organization as a real disease, not just a cosmetic or minor functional glitch. Many seniors I've interviewed say that doctors seldom highlight the importance of muscular strength until it's almost too late. That gap in education, ironically, can have life-threatening consequences, especially when we consider how muscle health supports metabolism balance and even the heart's ability to function under stress. So if you've sensed unusual fatigue or found yourself hesitating to join physical activities for fear your muscles might give out, stay tuned. The next few minutes could be your lifeline to a full active life, free from the heartbreak of unexpected accidents that rob you of independence. That's someone. The science: what is sarcopenia? Silent thief of strength. Medical researchers define sarcopenia as the age-related loss of skeletal muscle mass and function. Unlike other conditions that blast you with pain, fever, or obvious swelling, it creeps in quietly. You might feel a little more tired climbing the stairs or notice your arms tremble a bit when lifting groceries, but you chalk it up to normal aging. Yet if left unchecked, this disorder escalates to the point where standing up from a chair requires a Herculean effort. A pivotal study from the Harvard T.H. Chan School of Public Health revealed that after age 60, individuals can lose up to 1/3 of their muscle. And for many, this deterioration starts as early as their 50s. The researchers found that even those who believe they eat well can slip into this muscle decline if they're not strategic with food choices. As muscle mass dwindles, the risk of fall skyrockets. Add in possible metabolic changes like unstable blood sugar or higher inflammation, and you start facing real dangers. Bone fractures extended, hospital stays, mounting medical bills, and an alarming strain on the cardiovascular system. Why does this connect to potential heart trouble? In simple terms, weakened muscles place additional stress on your overall physiology. A body that struggles to manage daily tasks can experience spikes in blood pressure and heart rate each time you perform what used to be easy movements. Over time, the heart can be taxed to the brink, making cardiac events more likely. While I'm not saying muscle loss alone causes a heart attack, the synergy of frailty, reduced mobility, and metabolic challenges drastically amplifies the hazards for the aging population. Behind the scenes, mechanisms and myths. One of the biggest misconceptions is that muscles decline purely from inactivity, while remaining sedentary certainly accelerates the problem. The real culprit is that our bodies become less efficient at synthesizing protein and balancing hormones as we age. This inefficiency leads to a net muscle drain unless we consume enough high-quality nutrients. What about the rumor that you need less protein when you're older? Quite the opposite. A consensus in geriatric medicine suggests older adults actually need more, often nearly double the protein intake recommended for younger adults to trigger muscle-building pathways effectively. Sarcopenia also correlates with decreased levels of certain hormones like testosterone and growth hormone, all of which dampen your muscle's capacity to repair. Finally, chronic inflammation, which is more common in older adults, can hasten muscle tissue breakdown if not managed with proper diet and lifestyle changes. Remember, if you're feeling that distinct sense of weakness, it's not just in your head. It may well be a real biological shift that warrants immediate attention. Always consult your physician for personalized guidance, as every individual's metabolic profile is unique. Action plan foods that fortify and why they matter. Now let's shift to the solutions. We're going to dissect 9 powerful foods that can help you preserve and even rebuild lost muscle. As an award-winning physician journalist, I've studied countless dietary interventions, and these items stand out for their tangible impact. From grains that supply steady energy to proteins that help your muscles grow overnight, you'll see how each option plays a unique role in halting that silent thief. But first note that dietary strategies are more effective when coupled with moderate resistance or weight-bearing exercise. We'll get into a practical schedule shortly. Ultimately, your plan must be balanced, a synergy of key nutrients, regular movement, and mindful habits to keep inflammation low and your metabolism running smoothly. Don't worry if you're in your 70s, 80s, or even beyond. New research has shown that targeted nutritional approaches can yield significant muscle gains in just weeks. Come on. 1. Brown rice sustain energy that fuels motion. When we look at older adults struggling with energy dips, a significant factor is how quickly blood sugar rises and falls based on daily carbohydrate choices. Brown rice offers a solution. It retains its bran and germ, making it a slow-release carbohydrate. This helps stabilize glucose levels, preventing those sudden crashes that can leave you too fatigued to walk around the block. Beyond its complex carb profile, brown rice supplies B vitamins, magnesium, and fiber. Magnesium aids electrical signals that trigger muscle contractions, while B vitamins, particularly B12, are essential for healthy neurons and red blood cells. A deficiency in these vitamins can manifest as muscle weakness and even neurological problems that hamper mobility. The result is a grain that not only helps you stay active, but also supports the deeper cellular processes needed to sustain muscle strength over time. If you're worried brown rice might taste too bland, try mixing it with stir-fried vegetables or cooking it in low-sodium vegetable broth for extra flavor. Seniors like Miss Bennett, age 74, found her energy levels more stable after substituting white rice with brown in her lunch routine. She reported fewer afternoon crashes, which motivated her to stay physically active. The bottom line: stable energy is the backbone of any muscle-preserving plan. Quinoa, a complete protein in a tiny seed. Quinoa has gained star status in the wellness world for good reason. It provides all 9 essential amino acids, making it a complete protein, something rare among plant sources. For seniors hoping to offset age-related muscle decline, Complete proteins are a must because they supply the building blocks for muscle repair. Furthermore, quinoa contains iron, magnesium, and ample fiber, which helps regulate blood sugar and improve digestion. When your bloodstream has steady glucose levels, your muscles are far less likely to fatigue midday. Harvard T.H. Chan School of Public Health has highlighted quinoa's beneficial nutrients, especially for those pivoting toward more plant-centered diets. Keep in mind that your capacity to synthesize protein from food diminishes slightly as you age, so consistent portions of quinoa throughout the week can be a huge boon for safeguarding muscle tissue. Consider it a perfect base for salads, side dishes, or even breakfast bowls. With 8 grams of protein per cup cooked, it can bolster your total daily intake. One of my patients, Mr. Hawkins, a 62-year-old accountant, struggled with prediabetes. By adding quinoa and cutting back on refined carbs, he noticed steadier energy at his desk job. Over 6 weeks, he also reported feeling less shaky when carrying heavy files, a direct sign that he was preserving vital muscle function. 3 walnuts anti-inflammatory warriors. Don't dismiss walnuts as just a snack. They're loaded with omega-3 fatty acids known to combat the low-grade inflammation that accelerates muscle atrophy. Chronic inflammation can elevate cortisol levels, which speeds up muscle breakdown. This is especially risky for older adults already teetering on the edge of frailty. Walnuts also contain antioxidants like vitamin E and polyphenols, adding another layer of protection against oxidative stress, a widespread culprit in aging. Plus, walnuts offer a modest dose of plant-based protein. Even if you can't rely solely on them to meet your total protein requirements, every ounce helps. Sprinkle walnuts onto salads, oatmeal, or yogurt, and you'll bolster both flavor and nutritional heft. Just be mindful of portion sizes. A handful a day can be plenty. People like Mims. Collins 73 have noticed less joint pain after consistently snacking on walnuts instead of chips, suggesting less inflammation and better movement range. 4 blueberries, an antioxidant shield. By the time we hit our late 50s or 60s, oxidative damage can accumulate significantly in muscle tissues. Blueberries, with their deep blue hue, owe much of their power to anthocyanins, compounds that hunt down free radicals and help minimize cellular injury. This is key for faster muscle recovery after daily activities or structured exercise. A study from Tufts University found older individuals who regularly consume berries enjoyed improved muscle function and quicker recovery times. This means if you're adding a daily cup of blueberries to your diet, whether fresh, frozen, or in smoothies, you're giving your body a better shot at repairing minor muscle tears that occur with physical exertion. Added bonus blueberries also contain vitamin C and potassium, essential nutrients that support collagen formation and fluid balance. Collagen maintains the structural integrity of tendons and ligaments, while optimal fluid balance is crucial for efficient muscle contractions. Flax seeds, tiny giants for muscle preservation. If you're looking for a plant-based triple threat, protein, fiber, and healthy fats, flax seeds are your allies. Their omega-3 content in the form of alpha-linolenic acid, ALA, helps curb inflammation that can sabotage muscles, and the high-fiber content supports digestive health, ensuring maximum absorption of the nutrients you consume. Flax seeds also contain lignans, which have antioxidant properties to further guard muscle cells from damage. The key is to grind them before use, as whole seeds often pass through your system undigested. Once ground, sprinkle them into your morning oatmeal, mix them into smoothies, or add them to baked goods for a silent yet potent defense against muscular decline. Dr. Michael Greger, author and physician, has cited flax seeds' anti-inflammatory benefits in How Not to Die 2015, noting that consistent use can improve cardiovascular parameters and metabolic markers, both of which impact muscle health in the long run. 6. Cottage cheese overnight. Muscle maintenance. While often overlooked, cottage cheese can be a game changer for seniors aiming to sustain muscle tissue. It's especially rich in casein, a slowly digested protein that releases amino acids over multiple hours. Consider a small bowl before bed to help your muscles rebuild during the overnight fasting period. Cottage cheese also provides a hefty dose of B12 calcium and other nutrients integral to bone integrity and nerve function. As we age, muscle and bone health go hand in hand. When you reinforce one, you often protect the other. Opt for varieties without excessive added sugar. You can pair it with fruit, nuts, or herbs for a versatile snack or light meal. Just remember, consult your physician if you have specific dietary restrictions, especially related to sodium or dairy intolerances. Chernovernanos, Darrowan, Oiwen. 7 Greek yogurt, a protein, powerhouse with probiotics. Greek yogurt has gained popularity for delivering a dense protein punch up to 20 grams in a modest serving, while also offering probiotics that promote a healthy gut. And a healthy gut is no small matter. It optimizes how your body absorbs vitamins, minerals, and amino acids that feed muscle cells. This is particularly relevant for seniors who might already battle digestive inefficiencies. Another hidden perk. Greek yogurt contains small amounts of creatine, a compound known for supporting muscle energy. Though the quantity is lower compared to supplementation forms, any additional support is welcome when you're trying to rebuild or preserve strength. Eating Greek yogurt a few times a week, especially at night, can help maintain muscle mass during the fasting state. For variety, top it with berries or a drizzle of honey, but keep an eye on sugar intake if you have metabolic concerns. Tofuns. 8 fatty fish. The omega-3 edge. Fatty fish like salmon, sardines, and mackerel offer a double benefit, top-tier protein quality, plus robust omega-3 levels, EPA and DHA. These healthy fats improve the muscle's sensitivity to nutrient uptake and reduce harmful inflammation. Research published in the American Journal of Clinical Nutrition 2016 showed that older adults who ate fatty fish twice a week experienced slower declines in muscle function compared to those who ate little to none. Additionally, these fish provide vitamin D, crucial for bone and muscle synergy. Low vitamin D can weaken both bone density and muscle strength, making a person more susceptible to fractures. In a world where many seniors lack adequate sun exposure, dietary sources of vitamin D become essential. Grill, bake, or broil the fish instead of frying, and aim for 2 to 3 servings per week for maximum gain. Clark, a 70-year-old retiree, shared that after incorporating salmon dinners twice weekly for about 3 months, she found stair climbing noticeably easier and less taxing on her knees and hips. Dodichinan. 9 lean protein sources, the unsung heroes. Don't let all the buzz about superfoods overshadow the basics. Lean proteins, chicken, turkey, lean beef, or plant-based proteins like legumes remain a foundational pillar of any muscle-preserving regimen. What often goes unmentioned is that seniors generally need more protein per kilogram of body weight than younger adults due to decreased anabolic sensitivity. Aim for at least 1:2 to 1, 5 grams of protein per kilogram of body weight, unless your doctor advises otherwise. Lean meats offer leucine and amino acid pivotal for igniting muscle protein synthesis. Plus, these meats provide iron and zinc, which help oxygenate muscles and support immune function. But watch out for how you prepare them. Grilling or baking beats deep frying when it comes to preserving health benefits. And if you choose plant-based proteins, combine them thoughtfully. Ichorichu. Beans with rice to ensure a complete amino acid profile. Don't forget to consult your physician for personalized targets, particularly if you have kidney issues or other medical conditions that affect protein intake. The Missing Spark, a 7-day muscle reclaim challenge. Let's amplify our fight against declining strength with a targeted approach. Often the simplest missing spark in an anti-sarcopenia plan is a structured short-term challenge that people can share with loved ones. Below is a 7-day checklist designed to make you more mindful of each daily meal and activity. Feel free to invite a neighbor or family member to join so you can motivate each other. Day 1, breakfast, brown rice porridge or oatmeal with ground flax seeds. Chornona movement, gentle chair squats 3 sets of 5 with rest in between. Focus hydration, drink a full glass of water before each meal. Day 2, breakfast, Greek yogurt topped with berries. Sarir, movement, 15-minute walk, focusing on posture and core engagement. Number, focus, add walnuts as a mid-afternoon snack. Day 3, meal, lean protein at lunch, grilled chicken or fish with vegetables. Movement, light arm exercises with water bottles. 3 sets of 8. Malcronin, focus journal, any energy improvements or fatigue. Day 4, breakfast, a quinoa and veggie scramble. Movement, another 15-minute walk, slightly quicker pace. Focus aim for a portion of blueberries as a dessert or snack. Day 5. Evening meal cottage cheese before bed to feed muscles overnight. Funner movement, gentle yoga or stretching routine to improve flexibility. Focus note improvements in balance or stability when moving around. Day 6. Main meal incorporate fatty fish like salmon. Shapurti, movement brief resistance band exercises for arms and shoulders. Smanurti Iwar, focus pay attention to your posture while standing and sitting. Day 7. Dietary mix, combine brown rice, flax seeds, and lean protein in one meal. Movement, a 20-minute walk or gentle dance session. Focus, reflect on how consistent nutrient choices have influenced your week. After completing this challenge, share your results in the comments section. Did you notice more energy, steadier balance, or simpler transitions from sitting to standing? Don't just keep these successes to yourself. Invite family, friends, or neighbors to try it. The 7-day reset is a potent jumpstart toward restoring muscle and reclaiming mobility. Content. 2 weight, 2 more. Case studies, real lives impacted case study, A. Miss Bennett, 79, former librarian. She initially dismissed her growing difficulty climbing stairs as normal aging, even though it got so bad she avoided visiting the library's second floor. Finally, she consulted a geriatric specialist who identified early sarcopenia by adding more fish Greek yogurt and light upper body exercises using bands. Miss Bennett regained some of her leg strength within a couple of months. She also reported better stamina during routine tasks. With consistent effort, she's now climbing stairs at home without fearing a sudden collapse in her legs. Case study B. Mr. Lewis, 81, retired bus driver. Years of sitting behind the wheel left him with minimal exercise habits. In his late 70s, Mr. Lewis started stumbling easily. A thorough checkup revealed lower body weakness and borderline vitamin D deficiency. He revamped his diet to include cottage cheese before bed, salmon at least twice weekly, and walnuts as a snack in lieu of sugary treats. After incorporating a simple walking routine, he noticed fewer wobbles and found it easier to navigate curbs. Within 6 months, his doctor remarked on a significant improvement in muscle and balance, underscoring the power of well-chosen foods and modest physical activity. The 24-hour challenge tests your muscle awareness. Now, if 7 days seem like a big commitment, try this quick 24-hour challenge. For the next day, ensure each meal you eat includes at least one muscle-focused food, mentioned earlier, be it quinoa, cottage cheese, or fatty fish. At the same time, spend at least 10 minutes in gentle resistance training, chair squats, or water bottle lifts to wake up dormant muscle fibers. Notice how you feel the following morning. Do you sense more stability or less fatigue? If yes, that's your body telling you it can respond quickly to targeted nourishment. If you notice no difference, give it another 24 hours. Some improvements take time to reveal themselves, but many older adults feel at least a marginal increase in energy after even 1 day of cleaner eating. Why this matters, linking muscle loss to cardiac danger. By now you may be wondering how this ties back to a hidden heart attack risk. According to the WHO, older adults with weakened muscles often have compromised cardiovascular resilience. The reason is multifaceted. Repeated bouts of strain on a frail frame can trigger spikes in blood pressure and heart rate, increasing the workload on the heart. Over time, that load can lead to events like strokes or acute cardiac episodes. Muscle strength is also critical in facilitating better blood flow during physical activity. The more muscle you have, the more effectively blood pumps, reducing stress on the arterial system. Moreover, healthy muscle mass often correlates with metabolic stability, keeping blood sugar and cholesterol levels in check. Poor metabolic markers are risk factors for cardiac emergencies. By focusing on muscle-preserving foods and moderate exercise, you're not just preventing falls or preserving independence. You're also helping shield your heart from undue strain. Always consult your physician for a thorough check if you're concerned about any cardiac conditions. Turkiniyum. The role of expert opinion. Quoting authoritative sources is pivotal in distinguishing fact from fiction. Let's look at 3 key statements. 1. World Health Organization, WHO, 2017. Policy. Brief on aging. Sarcopenia is recognized as a serious threat to healthy aging, increasing the likelihood of falls and physical dependence. 2. Harvard T.H. Chan School of Public Health, 2020 Nutrition and Healthy Aging Study. Ensuring an adequate protein intake in combination with physical activity is essential for older adults seeking to maintain muscle integrity and metabolic health. 3. Dr. Michael Greger, 2015, How Not to Die. Incorporating anti-inflammatory plant-based components like flax seeds is a critical strategy in reducing chronic disease risks and preserving physical function. These insights align with what we've discussed. You can actively defend against muscle decline. While certain changes occur naturally with age, the body retains a remarkable capacity for adaptation, given the right nutrients and practices. Frequently asked questions and their alarming answers. Q. Should I abandon any medication or physical therapy my doctor prescribed now that I've got these diet tips? A. Absolutely not. Under no circumstances is this information meant to replace professional medical advice. Always consult your physician before altering any treatment plan. Q. How soon can I expect results? A noticeable improvements may appear within weeks, especially if you combine dietary adjustments with consistent low-impact exercises like walking or chair yoga. However, the exact timeline varies based on factors like pre-existing conditions and overall health status. Q. Can I just take supplements to make up for inadequate eating? Supplements can be helpful for certain deficiencies, but whole foods deliver an array of nutrients and phytochemicals that often work synergistically. Consider supplements a complement, not a substitute, and consult your physician for personal guidance. Q. I'm 85. Am I too old for this to make a difference? In most cases, it's never too late to bolster your muscle mass. Research shows that even individuals over 80 can experience measurable gains with the right interventions. That said, start gently and seek medical approval first. Tamui. Additional strategies for long-term success. 1. Spread protein throughout the day. Studies from McMaster University indicate that distributing protein intake evenly across meals is more effective than concentrating it in one big serving. For instance, 25-30 grams of high-quality protein at breakfast, lunch, and dinner stimulates muscle synthesis more consistently than 70 grams in a single meal. This approach prevents the muscle-building machinery from running idle for too long. 2. Mix resistant exercises with day-to-day activities. You don't need a fancy gym membership or intense workout routines. Even mild resistance training, such as using resistance bands or light hand weights, can jumpstart muscle retention. Pair these with daily tasks like gardening or grocery shopping, which keep you moving. The synergy of mild structured exercise and everyday activity ensures you stay functional, flexible, and strong. 3. Monitor inflammation and blood markers routine. Blood tests can provide insights into inflammation, C-reactive protein levels, and metabolic health. Fasting. Glucose, cholesterol. By tracking these metrics, you can adjust your diet more precisely. For instance, if inflammation is high, focus even more on omega-3 rich foods and anti-inflammatory produce, like berries and leafy greens. Practical follow-up schedule. Month 1. Assess initial baseline. Track your meals. Note your daily protein intake and measure how long it takes you to stand from a seated position. Month 2. Reevaluate energy levels and muscle endurance. Possibly increase your protein target if recommended by a healthcare professional. Month 3. Check in with your physician for a progress review. Run blood tests if needed to see improvements in inflammation markers and vitamin levels. Month 6. By this point, you should see tangible results, fewer stumbles, better endurance, and possibly improved metabolic health. Ongoing, continually adjust your strategy as you age, or if any new medical condition arises. Remember, muscle maintenance is a lifelong endeavor. Aruwantunon. Call to comment C# Sauchep. Have you ever noticed this sign? Comment, I feel it, if you relate I'm safe. If not, and add a question for the doctor. Your feedback not only supports others reading the comments, but also helps shape future videos and articles. Sarcopenia and the risk it carries are widespread, and collective experiences often illuminate new solutions. If you're unsure, simply share what step you plan to take first in your muscle rebuilding journey. Suri Ninorinum. Keeping the momentum past it forward. Muscle decline isn't just an individual crisis, it's a public health concern. While certain forms of therapy or medication may assist, diet and mild exercise remain your first line of defense. If you have a friend or family member who might be on the verge of losing mobility, do them a favor, pass along this information. One conversation can be enough to spark action that saves them from a harsh fall and potential hospitalization. We're not aiming for perfection. The goal is progress, steady, sustainable progress. Overhauling your diet with these 9 foods, adding a few minutes of strength training, and being vigilant about your nutrient intake will put you ahead of most individuals your age who haven't thought deeply about muscle preservation. And remember, synergy matters. Healthy muscles support healthy bones, stable blood sugar, and robust cardiovascular function. That's a trifecta of protection for your golden years. Safety reminder. Nothing stated here is intended to replace prescribed treatments. Always verify changes in your diet or exercise routine with a qualified medical professional. Your physician can tailor advice to your unique health status, especially if you have conditions such as kidney issues, diabetes, or chronic cardiac ailments. Maintaining an open conversation with your healthcare team ensures you tackle sarcopenia safely and effectively. Rapid-fire recap. To cement everything we've discussed here are 3 quick bullet points. 1. Muscle loss is preventable. Through strategic eating, especially higher protein and anti-inflammatory foods, you can slow and even reverse sarcopenia. 2. Consistency is key. Distribute your protein intake across meals and pair your improved diet with mild regular exercise for best results. 3. Protect your heart. Healthy muscle mass lowers strain on the cardiovascular system, reducing your risk of dangerous cardiac events. Like, share, subscribe, and one final question. If these insights resonate with you, please give this video a like and share it with someone you care about. Hit the subscribe button so you won't miss upcoming deep dives into senior health longevity and more advanced nutritional strategies. We have transformative content planned, and you'll want to be the first to know. Here's my parting question. What worries you most about losing muscle strength, and what's the first step you plan to take to reclaim it? Let us know in the comments. Your response could inspire someone else on this journey to a stronger, healthier future.